What's up, everybody? Pete back with Road to Rap Live. This week we got the OG himself, Greg Carroll. You know him, you love him, you know that voice. So I'm not even going to waste time because this man needs no introduction. I'm going to bring him right in, and you're going to know exactly what's going on the second we get here. So coming in right now, Mr. Greg Carroll, OG Rap himself. There he
What's up,
is.
Peter?
What's up, Greg? How you doing, buddy?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad at all.
I have not seen you since Orlando because I missed New York. So how have you been? It's been a few months.
It has. It has. I gotta say, I really enjoyed New York. It was definitely a refreshing show. It was good to see a lot of people turn out for the show, and really looking forward to Chicago.
Yeah, nice. So yeah, we let's see. No, last year, so it was 2 years ago. Chicago happened
Yeah.
for the first time. So we were out there. We had the kickoff event. It was a great event then.
Yep.
Everything I hear, the numbers are picking up. Ticket sales are going. People are getting excited again. And it was a little. Everybody was kind of questioning, why are people still nervous? Are things spiking again? But man, it's looking like people are going to come out for it. So how excited are you to be back after 2 years to Chicago? It's such a great venue, such a great place.
Yeah. Anytime that the event is in the hotel, it just seems so much funner. Because you got everybody staying together for the most part. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some people that are going to say elsewhere, but it's so cool when everybody stays in the hotel. And realistically, we're like there for 3 days straight, all hanging and having a blast.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like having a venue and that venue's massive, absolutely massive. I mean, it's last time I was there were like four things going on. There was like a cheerleading competition, a
Yep.
pet groomers conference, and the biggest and granted, it's probably one of the only ones I've seen in person, but I know from a lot of friends that I work with, a huge Indian wedding was going on in the venue too. They had like a whole hall rented out and unbelievable stuff, and that was amazing to see. They were all outside, and I have a lot of friends from work from India, so I'm always passionate about the culture. But seeing everybody, in their saris and all dressed up in the full,
Yep.
it was really cool to kind of be walking through and being a sideline part of that, but. So everybody knows I just yeah, so I want to give a shout out JP. You're out in the stream. Metro Cat. Who else do we got out here? So we're doing something new tonight. This is the first time ever we're actually live streaming to Facebook, our Facebook page, our Facebook group, and YouTube. So we're using Restream and we're going to multiple places. So unfortunately, some of you I cannot see. I just see Facebook user. So somebody says hi, Greg. I don't know. So I don't know exactly who is online with us, but.
Got
For those of you who, for some reason, just learned about reefing yesterday and don't know who Greg is, Greg is one of the OG people from the original Reefapalooza when it was still a club show being held out of a backyard in California. So we do this every year, but people still don't know. Why don't you give us the brief rundown of the history of rap and how many years it's been that you have been part of Reefapalooza, from where it went in somebody's backyard to where it is now for a big four show, national show kind of deal.
Gotcha. So I think it was back in 2004. We started Reefapalooza. It was just a little backyard frag swap. We invited Anthony Calfo, for those of you that remember who Anthony Calfo is, to come. He did a fragging demonstration and talked about fragging corals. The whole idea was to get into, or to promote fragging and the sustainable part of the hobby. So so it was cool. We had the first year we had about 200 people show up, because back then we were doing a lot of backyard frag swaps in Southern California.
Yep.
So it was a tremendous success. I mean, he brought in porta potties, so that people weren't going through the house and all that stuff. So he had, since he had a really big backyard, it worked. The next year we had about 300 people.
yeah. Yeah, that escalated
Trampled,
fast.
trampled all his plants in the backyard, and basically he said, "Guys, yeah, this isn't going to work in my backyard anymore. So one of our members, Ben Ross, who at the time ran Marine Depot,
Yeah.
said, "Hey, why don't you come do it in the Marine Depot parking lot?" He's like, "It's on a Saturday, because back then it was just a one-day show." He's like, "It's a Saturday." He's all, there's no will call on Saturday. It's just the CSRs working, so there's plenty of space. So we did it there. We had 600 to 700 people. At that time, we had a change in presidents. So that was under Mark Trimble. We had a change in presidents in the club, and then we moved it to the fairgrounds. Because at that time, I had gone to MACNA, and I'm like, I wish they'd bring MACNA to California. But I says, they never do. It's always on the East Coast. And I'm tired of flying back and forth to the East Coast. Why don't they ever do it out here?
Let me ask you a question. Did you guys as a club ever apply for it? Because isn't that how MACNA works? Clubs apply to host it, kind of like the Olympics for a lack of a better comparison. But have you guys ever applied to host it?
That was what we were planning. That was what I wanted us to do.
Oh, okay.
At the time, I wasn't, in 2007, yes, I was a board member. And that's when I went to my first MACNA, was in 2007. And I thought it was, I was like, I like it. There's parts of it I didn't like, but, still it was the big show. And me being a gear junkie, I wanted to see this equipment and put my hands on it. That's what I wanted. And Mark, our former president's like, why don't we make Reefapalooza bigger? So that's when we went out, got the fairgrounds, and did the first show at the fairgrounds. We had about 2,000 people. I mean, every year it was just exponentially growing.
Yeah.
Now, back then, it was only $5 to get in.
What year was this?
This was 2007.
Okay.
When we did the one at the fairgrounds. And, I mean, it was just a great event. Then our president decided to do his own show. And that's a whole nother story. We'll leave him out of it because he is now defunct.
Yeah.
I took over as president in 2008.
Okay.
We continued doing it at the fairgrounds. We increased to a 2-day show after that first year at the fairgrounds. And, we were getting to 2,500, 2,700, 3,000. It just kept growing. We kept going from building to building in the fairgrounds. And we finally got to the 40,000 square foot building at the fairgrounds. And that was awesome. I mean, we had an attendance one weekend. The last weekend we were at the fairgrounds of 5,300 people.
Wow.
And mind you, Reefapalooza, we don't count the exhibitors.
Yeah.
Only we were just counting ticket sales.
Yeah.
And that was 5,300. And that's a monstrous number. And for those who've ever been to a show like that, to pack a building that's 40,000 square feet is very impressive.
Yes, it is. That is no small task by any means.
So we had scored a deal with a franchise deal with Worldwide Corals. Vic and Lou had become friends of mine way back when I was selling frags. We'd do the coral farmers markets and things like that.
Yeah.
And, they even came to my house, got frags from me,
nice.
Back then. This is when Vic, before he was buying at the wholesaler, he would literally go to the best hobbyist and buy frags from them. And that's how he's always wanted to grow corals, not to just buy corals and flip them.
Sure. Yeah.
So, I had a lot of trust in these guys, and I knew just from, I had this sense of, being on the forums and everything, Worldwide Corals seemed to be that company that never screwed anybody over. Anybody who had a complaint, they just took care of it.
Yeah, right.
So I was like, these are good guys. We scored a deal to franchise with them. They started off with Orlando. I did not go to the first show.
Oh, really?
I did not go to the first show. Mainly because, uh, I got kids,
Right,
and
right,
it. I do Reefapalooza, California. One show was good enough for me.
right.
I guess they did it. They had some guy from the local club there be the announcer, and everything got back to me. Oh my God, Greg, you got to come and announce. That guy was horrible. I don't even know who he was, but they said he was just the
The voice,
monotone voice,
the
and,
legend.
and so forth. So I said, okay, I'll come, but y'all got to pay for me to come
Yeah,
because I'm not doing it out of the kindness of my heart. And I mean, I just don't have that kind of money. I
sure,
got
sure.
kids in private school. So they, Vic and Lou, paid me to come out there, took care of the hotel room and everything. Had a blast. I thought the show was awesome. It was my favorite show. It was,
Wow, more so than your own.
but yes, because I didn't have to. My work was what I wanted to do, not what I had to do.
Yeah,
It was different. It was different because I didn't have the responsibility. Someone comes up to me in California and says, "Hey, how do I do da 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 da?" You know what? I got to go find out. They come up to me in Orlando and ask me da 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 da.
say go see
And I
that guy over there.
guys with yellow shirts. I mean,
I
I can
know.
pass the buck. So that's why I never have a radio. When you see me, I don't. Everybody else has got a radio. I don't have no radio. I
Yep.
don't want one.
That's
So
I appreciate that. Trust me, I know
yeah,
what it's like to walk in, do your thing, and walk out, and then what it's like to have a job, be responsible, worry the whole time, still do the thing you're supposed to do there, but then like be pulled in
exactly.
47,000 other directions. So, and I can't even imagine that at the level of a Reefapalooza. My experience is at a much more like local level, but it's just grown into such a monstrosity. Like,
It has.
did you ever envision that it would
No,
be what it is today?
never,
Does it still
never.
surprise you every time you go to a
It
show?
absolutely. I mean, whenever I talk about Reefapalooza, on a live stream or whatnot, when I look at the comments, people are like, "Oh, will you bring one here? Will you bring one here? Will you bring one here?" It's like they all want a Reefapalooza, So it's cool. We tried to put them in areas where we had the greatest saturation of hobbyists
Sure.
that could come to it. The whole thing is we can't just have one everywhere because we actually need people to stay in the hotel.
Well, yeah.
You
I mean,
have to do the venue, you have to book so many rooms.
well, that's the
Otherwise,
deal with a lot of these places is you got to commit to filling those rooms, don't you?
you got to commit to filling those rooms. And let me tell you, in California, the last California show,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't meet our commitment,
Whoa.
which definitely factored in to why the show got canceled the last 2 years.
Yeah, so you guys had a tough decision to make, and you made
Yeah.
it this year. But I need you to settle a rumor that keeps coming around. Are you still talking about maybe doing something like clubbish level?
We
People.
tried.
Oh, you
No,
tried.
We
Okay.
actually tried to pull off a Reefapalooza this year back at the fairgrounds.
Oh, really?
Yes.
All right.
We had settled on a date of December 5th. Fairgrounds was like, no problem. I think it was December 5th, the first weekend of December.
Yeah.
And then after a month and a half, they contacted us back and said, you guys actually can't have December 5th. Because I kept asking, sending emails, where's the contract?
Yeah.
Where's the contract? Because I can't start booking booths and all this other stuff if I don't have a contract
Right.
for a venue. And then they come back finally and say, "Oh, we made a mistake. We have Winterfest going on." I'm like, "You got to be kidding me." So
Winterfest.
then they wanted to do it in November. So I said, "Okay, November." It was like mid-November, Columbus Day weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that time period. I said, "Send the contract," and they just didn't do anything because they were all working from home, and I guess they only met every couple of weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just the biggest mess. And then finally, so we get somebody to reply back. They're like, the fair is right around the corner. We're swamped right now. We'll deal with you after the fair. Well, guess what?
It didn't happen.
They didn't get back to us after the fair. And after they told us we were going to get back to you after the fair, at that point we were like, there's no show.
Yeah.
You can't, the fair would have been here in September, and we're doing a show in November. You can't put together a big show like that in 2 months. It's just not possible.
So it's officially not happening this year.
It is
I can
officially
tell,
not happening
okay.
until 2022.
Because people kept hitting me up and they're like, but I heard Greg was. I was like, I've talked to Greg, like, so I'm like, I haven't heard that. But now I can tell people officially if they come in and be like, no, they're trying to do something. It's officially not happening. 2022, same time, same like resuming normal
August.
operation. Okay.
August, yeah.
Cool.
So we'll be back. It's okay. But like I said, I invite people to go to Chicago if you really want a show. We got one in Chicago. Even from California, flights to Chicago were really reasonable.
Yeah. Everything right now, as long as it doesn't get canceled on you, that's a whole different story. But
right. But I'm flying right out of the local airport that's like 5 miles away to Chicago nonstop. I mean, it was easy to find a flight.
Right. Yeah. So, this year it's been a weird year. We were gone. You and I got to see each other in Orlando. We got to hang out. That was a great show. We had dinner afterwards, and it was a good time to be there. That happened right the day before the show. Like mask mandate came down, everything else. What was it like to take a year off for you? Was it just really weird, or was it relaxing to you?
Oh, it was relaxing. When there's a lot of pressure on us as a club because it's our money on the line.
Yeah.
And we operate it at such a tight budget. I mean, no business would run Reefapalooza California the way we do, because if you had an outline of a couple $100,000 to make $20,000-$30,000, you're kind of stupid to do that. It's just not worth it. And mind you, no one's getting paid.
Yep. Volunteer base.
Yeah. So I mean, but we do it for the love of the hobby. But our club, unfortunately, is an older club.
Yep.
I got a lot of people in the age group where the original COVID-19 was affecting the older crowd much worse. And we just collectively just said it wasn't worth it.
All right.
We're still doing meetings, via Zoom instead of our normal meeting location.
Sure. You guys were hit so hard out there. I mean, California was just...
No, don't believe that.
No?
I mean, we were hit like everybody else, but you got to look at the per capita numbers.
Well,
you always got to look at 1/9 of the country lives in California. You can't forget that.
Yeah, that's true.
When you see, for instance, us have 50,000 deaths and Florida have 40,000 deaths, remember they have half the people that we have.
Well, that's true. That's a good point. I never looked at it like that. So
yeah, you always got to look at it per capita. There's a lot in California, and half of them live in Southern California.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. All right. Well, fair enough. You corrected me there then. So. So let's check the JLE Reefer says Greg's awesome and the voice of rap raffles. So let's talk about the raffle, the legendary Reefapalooza raffle with the sultry, what's that? Sultry? Not sultry. That's not the right word. Well, I mean, maybe sultry for somebody, but whatever the word is, the voice of Greg Carroll calling that raffle is legendary. What's up for the raffle in Chicago? You got heads up on anything? Any big prizes?
I don't have a heads up, but I can always tell you our one of our biggest supporters of the raffle is Ecotech. They don't necessarily give us product, but they give it to us at a really reasonable price.
Yep.
So we're able to buy those things. Most everything else is donated.
Mm-hmm.
The Ecotech product, maybe some of the Neptune products, and Worldwide Corals donates a lot of stuff right off their shelves.
Yeah.
So they pay for a lot of stuff. The raffle really isn't a huge moneymaker.
No,
it's just there to add some excitement. I mean, man, I tell you, when I first joined a reef club, the most important thing for me was the opportunity to buy some raffle tickets and go home with some couple $100 prize that I got for a couple, $5 in raffle tickets,
Have you
ten
ever
bucks in
won anything at a show or anything?
at like a Reefapalooza
No,
show.
I know at the Reef Palooza you don't do, but like at a show that you've gone to where you've bought raffle tickets. Have you ever won anything at
Not a
a?
show, no.
No, me
I
me either.
didn't win when I was at MACNA.
I've given up.
You know,